Hello students, how are you all? I hope all of you are doing amazing. So welcome all of you at AriserTalent, and we were discussing about the class 9 chapter number 2, that is matter around us pure. And in our last lecture we have a discussion about separation of gases from air and the separation techniques that we are using in the city water supply. Now continuing with this lecture, we are on the last part of the chapter, and this is all about the last topic of the chapter, that is about the physical and chemical changes. So today we are going to deal all about the physical and chemical change. So the topic for today will be physical and chemical changes. Now, before starting this topic, let us take a simple example that what the condition of physical and chemical mean. Suppose any of the changes taking place in the environment, let us suppose that I am just taking a water and I am keep it in boiling, and I can cool the water, and again when you cool the water and you can freeze it. Okay, so there are some changes take place in the whole process. So every change take place in the nature is due to only one factor, because of the energy changes take place. So this can be categorized into the two categories, that is about the physical and chemical change. So the word physical means if any of the physical property means either the shape, either size, either melting boiling point, either electric magnetic field, if these factors are going to change, we can say that the physical change can occur. Chemical change on the other hand is a change in which the entire chemical composition of a substance is going to change, and you can say that the molecular content of a compound is also going to change. Suppose I am taking a water and I am keep freezing it. So if you freeze the water, you will get the ice. So this is only the physical property that is changing here. Water is a liquid, ice is a solid. But if you lower the temperature, ice can also be converted into the water. So you can see that same matter can be recovered from one form to another. So if you are again getting the substance in which the changes are made, you can say that the physical change is accompanied here. Okay, so physical change means there is only the change in the physical properties of a compound. So the first topic is all about physical changes. So the physical changes are those changes in which the physical properties of a compound is changed. In which only the physical properties of a substance changes. And what are those physical properties? These physical properties may be size, shape, color, texture, boiling melting point, and electric and magnetic field. If any one of these factor is going to change, you can see that the physical change is going to occur. If any of one of these characteristics change, I can say that the physical change is going to occur. So simply I'm just taking an example here. Suppose there is a water and you are freezing it. We are freezing the water. If you keep freezing the water, what you will get here? You will get the ice here. Okay. So this water is in the liquid state and this ice is a solid state. Clear? So this liquid state is converted into the solid state by just keeping the water at 0 degrees Celsius, because at 0 degrees Celsius there is a formation of the ice. Now you can see that the compound is same. Water and ice are same, only the physical appearance of a substance changes. So if any of the physical factor is going to change, you can say that the physical change is going to be occurred. Now whenever any physical change occurs, what are the things you can observe, and you can see that what are the characteristics that are changing take place in the reaction. So the first character that is that is taking place is the physical state of a substance is changed. So this is the first characteristics, that only physical state of a substance is going to change. So I can say this is our first point, that only physical factors changes. The second thing is, if you are performing any physical change, the product you are getting, you can again recover that product from the previous one. Clear? So the second factor is the product can be recovered. So what about the product can be recovered? Suppose if I am keeping freezing the water, I am getting the ice here. Now what will happen if I keep the ice at room temperature? If you keep the ice at room temperature, again you will get the water. So in the physical changes, the product which is forming, you can again recover the reactant from that product also. Okay, so if ice is here, if ice is kept at room temperature, ice is a solid and you will again get the water which is liquid. Clear? So you will again get the matter and you can again recover the metal. The third property is, in physical changes there is no loss or gain of the energy. It means if you are liquefying the water and it is forming the ice, if this whole process is taking place at 2160 joule, it means the energy required here is 2160 joule. So if you are again obtaining the water from the ice, same amount of energy will be required for accomplishing this process. It means there is no energy changes take place in case of the physical changes. Okay, so the third point is, no energy change take place. If you are converting water into ice, and suppose again you are converting ice into water, if you are doing both these processes, the same energy you are getting here. If the energy required for this process is 2160 joule, the same amount of energy will be required here. So this is the same energy you will get in both the processes. Next point is, the physical changes that we are seeing in the nature are temporary changes. Temporary means they can occur for a short period of a time and again you will get the product again after reversing the reaction. Clear? So the physical changes are temporary. So the next point is, physical changes are temporary. So the first point we have seen is that only the physical factors of a substance change. Second is, you can again get the product. Third point is, no energy changes take place. The fourth point is, the physical changes are temporary. And the last point about the physical changes is that whenever any physical change take place, there is no change in the composition of a substance. Clear? So there is no change in composition. The composition of a substance will remain same throughout. Suppose you are using 1 kg of the water or the 1 liter of the water to convert it into the ice. If you are again melting that ice, you will get the similar amount of the water you are using. There is no change in the composition of a substance. So the composition is still going to remain same here. Clear? So these are some of the properties or the definition we have seen about the physical changes. Now the physical changes taking place in our nature is not a single one. We have a lot of examples from morning till night. Clear? So let's see what are the other examples you can found in nature about the physical changes. But before that, just copy this part from here. So now the next thing is about more examples of physical changes. So we have a lot of examples in this category. Suppose I am taking an example. Switching off electric bulb. If you press the button and you switch on the electric bulb, you can see that the bulb will start glowing. So no chemical properties of the substance change, only the appearance of a substance is changing. So you can say that the switching of electric bulb is a physical change. Second example is formation of dew. If dew is forming, there is no chemical changes take place. So I can say that the formation of dew is again a physical change. Tearing of paper. If you are using a paper and you are just tearing it, so the tearing of a paper, after stretching the paper, you will again get the same paper. It means there is no chemical composition change take place. So the tearing of paper is also a physical change. The next one is evaporation of water. The evaporation of water is again a physical change. Because what will happen in case of evaporation, the water is going to form the steam. If you again cool that steam, you will get the water. It means only the physical appearance is going to change here. The next example is ringing of bell. If you are ringing an electric bell, you can see that nothing has been changed here. So this is a physical change. Sublimation of camphor. Sublimation of a camphor is a change which is again our physical change, because if camphor is going to form the vapors, if you cool that vapors, the camphor is again obtained to you. So sublimation process is again our physical change. Clear? So these are some of the changes. You can see that there is no change in the chemical composition here. So this is all the physical changes, and you can see more and more example in your daily life about the physical change. Now let's move to the next part, which is about the chemical changes. So the next thing is about chemical changes. Now, the name indicates chemical change is a change in which the chemical composition of a substance is entirely changed, and you can see that the molecular composition of a substance is going to change. Suppose I'm talking about the curdling of the milk. You can see that milk is converted into the curd. The milk is having a different properties and the curd you are obtaining is having a different properties. And if you want to obtain again milk from the curd, it is possible, it is not possible, because this process is actually the chemical process in which the entire chemical properties of a substance is going to change. Clear? So chemical change is a change in which the chemical properties of a substance is going to change. Chemical change is a change in which chemical properties or chemical composition of a substance change. Clear? And you can say that the molecular composition of a substance is also going to change. Suppose I am taking an example of sugar here. What you will have to do, you are just heating the sugar in a test tube. So after some time you will see that sugar is going to form the brown color fumes and a black part, that is the carbon, which is a residue left behind. Now from this black colored residue or the brown color fume, if you want to cool it down, you will not get the sugar again. So it means if the sugar is heated, you will get the change in the color. You can get the change in the chemical composition, and again the substance is not going to be recovered here. So this type of the change is definitely our chemical change. So the example we are taking here is heating of sugar in a test tube. If you are going to heat the sugar in a test tube, what will happen? If sugar is heated, brown colored fumes is produced. Brown colored fumes is produced and the leftover part is carbon here. The carbon particle as a residue left behind. So the first thing you can observe from here is that the chemical property of a substance is entirely changed. How you can identify that? The sugar crystals you have is white in color and the residue you are getting in black in color, and you can see that entire substance is changing here. So this type of the change is our chemical change. So the first property I am getting here is that chemical composition is changed. Second thing you can observe from here, you cannot obtain the product again from the, you cannot obtain the reactant again from the product. So I can say that this is our irreversible change, or we can say that this is a permanent change. Clear? So the second thing is chemical changes are permanent. The third thing is chemical changes are irreversible. These changes are irreversible. Next thing is all about energy. What about the energy changes? Suppose sugar is heated and you are getting the brown colored fumes and a black color residue. So what will happen in this case? Energy changes is going to take place in this reaction and the weight of a substance is certainly changed. Suppose you are taking the sugar and if you are going to weight the residue part, the residue part the sugar is giving is less in number as compared to the actual sugar you have. But if you are weighting the total weight, like you are weighting the residue and you are weighing the weight of the fumes, then definitely it is going to be somewhat equal, but there is a little difference between the weight of a substance. So you can see that the amount or the weight of a substance is also going to take place in the chemical changes. So if I am talking about the energy change, so definitely there is a energy change take place. And if we are talking about the composition or the weight of a substance, so the amount or weight of a substance is also changed. Clear? So these are the changes you can see that is take place when the chemical changes is occurring. So we have discussed about a lot of properties in physical and chemical change. Now for the chemical change, let us consider another example. Suppose a magnesium ribbon is burnt. Example number 2, burning of magnesium ribbon. If the magnesium ribbon is burned, it is going to produce a powdery magnesium. It means when you burn the ribbon in a Bunsen burner flame, you will get a substance in the powdered form. So you can see that the ribbon is converted into the powdered form. It means the chemical property of a substance is changed and you are getting the new product. So one more property is there, that the new product is definitely going to form whenever there is a chemical change. So here are few examples. There are many more examples for the chemical change, but before that, just copy this part. So the next examples are the first one is curdling of milk. Curdling of milk is a chemical change. Second, digestion of food in our body. Digestion of food is another chemical change. Third one is ripening of fruit. If the fruit is getting ripened, you can see that there is a chemical change take place. Formation of water from hydrogen and oxygen. So the formation of water from H2 and O2 is again a chemical change. Smoking of a cigarette. Smoking of a cigarette is another chemical change. So smoking of cigarette is a chemical change. So these are few examples which is showing that how the chemical changes is occurring in nature, and there are many more examples of the chemical changes we have. So you can see that physical changes are those in which the physical properties like shape, size, texture of a substance is changed. In chemical properties, the entire chemical composition of a substance is changed. Physical changes are temporary. On the other hand, chemical changes are permanent. Physical changes are reversible. Chemical changes are not reversible. In physical changes, no energy changes take place. In chemical changes, there is a bit energy change take place. In physical changes, you can see that the weight or amount of a substance remain constant, but in chemical changes, it is somewhat different from the actual one. So these are few of the differences of physical and chemical change. So this is the last part of our chapter, and we have completed our chapter, that is matter around us pure? So this lecture is all over for today. We will deal with NCERT questions in our next lecture. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.